Welcome to another exciting conversation for shining the light on our community. And with me today, we have the beautiful Saidi is returning. And I'm really excited because I love chatting with Saidi. Absolutely love chatting. So thank you, Saidi, for coming back and joining us while you're on your road, wherever you are in America. Somewhere traveling around. I really feel connected when people say I'm just traveling. I go, yes, I get that so much.
Yeah.
So, and you're living full time in your converted shuttle bus, which is great.
Yep.
Now, Sadie, let me introduce you a little bit. So you're passionate about supporting women to be healthier, more authentic, and self-expressive, beyond all the conditioning, expectations that we have in this world, unhealthy ways of relating, and with the wounded feminine energies. I love that. And all the traumatic energies and experiences that we've inherited from previous generations.
Yes.
And we've had a previous conversation, but I'm so glad that you come back, because we want to have more a conversation. I'd love to go into this more about, how we inherit traumatic experiences from other generations. Love it. But before we do, just welcome.
Thank you. So nice to be here. I so enjoyed our last conversation. So it is, just such a pleasure to be back. And thank you.
Yeah. So tell us again, for everyone who's listening for new, tell us again a little bit about yourself and how did you get to where you are now to helping women heal, and also living in a shuttle bus.
That's funny. I would say that my life has never been a conventional one, including like just starting out from day one, my birth. My mother put me up for adoption at birth. And so I just came in. I trust, now looking back over my life, like I have just never followed the rules, never done the norm, and I didn't even do that normally. So normally, excuse me.
Yeah.
So that being put up for adoption, that was a huge wound, the mother wound there. We all carry a mother wound, but it was pretty intense losing her and, my family from the start. And then ending up in a family that just wasn't able to support me through all of my emotional challenges. I now know that I was really grieving intensely and I wasn't bonding with my new family, and just a lot of emotional challenges. And and so I ended up, acting out, again, fighting against the norm. Nobody really knew what to do with me. Finally, running away, ending up on drugs, alcohol, on the streets, homeless, in jails. You went the whole route there. Just kind of diving deep into it, which is interesting. I'm a Scorpio and I have 3 planets in Scorpio. I have a lot of Scorpio energy, and that's all about kind of, there's some really dark underbelly energies there of Scorpio. And I feel like I really was drawn to that to get a deep understanding of that side of life. So I could, come back out, Phoenix rising, and support other people to move through their own experience of unworthiness and that low sense of self. And for me, it was real abandonment issues. But it's like, why didn't my mother want me? What was wrong with me? I took it very personally that something was deeply wrong with me. And then all the other things in my life, like I felt really, I guess, broken. So finding ways to cope with that, like the drugs and alcohol, which of course didn't work. I thought they did for a bit, but then they didn't. But so just this real, and finally, ultimately ending up on my spiritual path, which then it all became clear that's what had been lacking my entire life, that spiritual connection. And So that led me on to just so many iterations of spiritual growth and spiritual exploration, and trying a bunch of different things, and learning a lot about energy, and how breaking up the energy and clearing the energy, those patterns that we inherit, that we come in with, really changes our experience. So, doing that work on myself, starting to work with my ancestors, starting to work with that, the grief of the, for me, I started getting in touch with understanding that so much of what I was dealing with was this unconscious grief and repressed anger of the wounded feminine, that really dictated so much of my life and how I responded and reacted to the world, which was from a very defensive, victim consciousness, angry place, So having gone through that journey of, it's been a lifetime of moving from that very wounded place into an empowered place, and taking responsibility for my own experience and my journey. And now I'm just so passionate about supporting other people to move from that low sense of self-worth, because that's ultimately what it is. We just don't feel worthy of abundance and love and joy and connection, and all those beautiful high vibe frequencies we're here to experience. So that's it in a nutshell. The real short version.
And thank you. And I'd just like to honor you just for sharing that. And, and saying how you've got to a part in your life where you're just taking responsibility, and starting to heal all the things that has come into your life through things that we don't even know about. So I'd love to go into, more of generational healing or trauma that we carry through the generations. So for anyone who's listening, for some people it's like, what do you mean that we've got to heal trauma from other generations? How does that happen?
Yeah.
How do we carry traumatic experiences from our ancestors?
Well, they're just at many, many, many levels. Actually, pretty much every level of our being, we carry this in. Let's start at the bottom, just the physical. We're in this 3D world, so we're physical bodies. Our women give birth to children, then those children grow up and they give birth to more children, and it's passed down through whatever trauma they experienced and didn't process is in their body. We store this stuff in our body. We store these heavy emotions that we don't process and work with, and especially in earlier generations, it wasn't really supported to work through these emotions, and it was just a different consciousness, different priorities. We have so many amazing tools and techniques now, and a consciousness and awareness to be working with these energies, but previously they didn't. And so it was any trauma that was experienced at the personal level, the collective level, societal level. I mean, we think about it. And I know when I've worked with women in circles and just kind of bringing up this, looking at the history of like people that came across from other countries here in America. We're talking about here in America, settlers or immigrants, people who immigrated to this country, and they left their country because they were in turmoil, right? They didn't leave there because it was a happy, loving place. They were coming here for this promise of a new world, and they came over here and had to. There was a lot of violence and, really weird things going on here, atrocious things against the people that were already here, and just a hard life, and women's rights were not, women are property, and they weren't treated well. And so that kind of hardship and their own traumas and the trauma of the society and what was going on, that gets stored in the body. And so that changes our DNA. And then we give birth to the next generation, and it just moves into them just through the physical. Yeah, like the epigenetics. I mean, science is seeing this now. We can watch this in mice, how a traumatized mouse in this generation, a few generations down, the new mouse is having traumatic reactions, and when they didn't even have that experience, but it's in there, they're dealing with anxiety, stress, whatever, not as healthy. So that's one way, it just comes in physically. And then there's behaviors when people are in traumatic, stressful experiences, they're not relating to each other from healthy emotional place, so their relationships are weird. They're raising their children from a guarded, defensive place, not able to be full, loving, supportive people, and they're passing that on through their own behaviors. Then the child learns those behaviors and those strange ways of relating, unhealthy codependent relationship patterns from the parents, and their hearts are shut down. And so those are that way. We're learning it from society in the interesting systems that we have in play, religious systems, the school systems, government, the rules that are in place. We learn that way. We learn how to relate to each other, how to be in this world. We learn our own sense of worth if we don't live up to the standards and the expectations, if we don't fit in well. So we take that on. And it's just all over. It's all across the board there.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow up in this society. And the religious thing, that is a really organized religion can have a lot of traumatic effects on people, and especially women, around the body, around so much shame and our sexuality. That's a really big piece. I'm not sure. I know here with the Christian, the Adam and Eve thing, the Eve original sin. I mean, women are carrying that, and in so many traditions, women are not praised and celebrated for what they're bringing to the table, for who they are. So that's very traumatizing, and we just don't even know if we're coming or going. It's just like,
yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
it's so much. I mean, forget about everything that we've got to deal with in this life.
Yes.
Like societal and everything else that is that we're coping with. We're also dealing with stuff from generations ago that we have never experienced in this physical body, but the memories are there because it's been passed down.
Yes. Yeah. I've talked about before, like there is some suicide in my family, a couple of suicides that I'm aware of, and how that affects the family, how that affects, my grandparents, because it was in my grandfather's first wife died by suicide. So how does that affect him? And then how does he pass on that kind of emotional shutdown and just, I mean, I saw it. I see in my family, just when those kinds of things happen, how does the family deal with that? And it's usually kind of like shove it under the rug. We don't talk about it because we didn't talk about it. I didn't know for a very long time that this was part of our family history. So it doesn't get processed. And then, that dies when those people die. The grandparents died, and they take those experiences with them, and they're left hanging out in the family because it's never processed, and it's just something we don't talk about. But it's a heavy energy, and it affects everybody because it's a shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's and future generations have to heal it and deal with it without even knowing what the cause is, what it is.
That's the thing. Like, and we come in, and when we come in born into these experiences, born with this in our bodies and our DNA already, we're not starting off as these whole healthy human beings. We're starting off at this lower level. So we're just already coming in with kind of stress and anxiety and health issues, because a lot of this shows up in health issues, disease, dysfunction in the body. And it's just our baseline. We don't even know any different, because we're just so used to feeling like, bleh, Yeah. So at some point, some of us start recognizing, like, hey, I don't think all of this is mine, there's some other stuff going on here. And then we can start unpacking it, as they say, and like, releasing, like, this isn't mine, actually. Yeah.
So what do we do? What do we do when we start to realize that we're carrying stuff from the past, that our whole feminine energy is carrying traumatic experiences?
Yeah.
What do we do? Because it's like talk about rabbit holes, minefields. It's like, that is huge.
It is absolutely huge. Yeah. And I think for me, it was just becoming aware of it changed everything. When I did start realizing, like, wow, this isn't all mine. This is coming in from other generations. This is part of our society. This is part of the collective. And how do I start recognizing these patterns that I have inherited, and then start making different choices for myself, and start like, okay, so there's that thing, there's that codependent behavior that I'm taking on from previous generations. How do I interrupt the patterns? How do I stop it and start creating new, healthier patterns? And that's the kind of consciousness that we're in right now, where we do have the tools and we are able to start recognizing and seeing and going, okay, this isn't mine. How do I take responsibility and move out of that victim consciousness? Because that's a big piece of it. It's easy for us, especially in a patriarchal society, to blame to blame society, to blame the violence, to blame oppression, blame racism, wherever we want to go with it. It's, and it's easy to feel very validated in that, but it's not going to get us anywhere. We just have to, like, okay, this is the energies that I came into with, and now what? How do I move out of them? How do I take responsibility and start making some different choices for myself? And I'm not saying it's just that easy, but it's so amazing and empowering when we do. We realize how much power we have to start making different choices, and how we have absolute control of our experience. We truly do. We don't have to carry these energies around. We can move them out of our bodies. We can start, doing different dance techniques, different movement, just get really intentional and start getting aware of it, and just do what we need to do to move it out. And there's so many ways. I mean, that's what my specialty is, helping women to work with these energies to move them out. But that and to not, I'm really working with not feeling so heavy about it. It is a lot, but we came here for this. I absolutely trust and believe that we are here. We chose to be here at this time on this planet to clear this energy, and we do it by doing the work and by experiencing it. And I trust that all the experiences I went through were for me to awaken to my power and start to move that energy and help other people to move that energy, because it's ready to go. We're at that place. We're at that place in our consciousness where we're ready to level up. So I feel like we're kind of filters here, we're like moving the energy through us, through our awakening, through our consciousness, and we're clearing it. We're actually clearing that energy. It's not going to be here anymore. So, it's just amazing. It's an amazing adventure, and really it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be here. It really is. And we got this. We totally got this.
Absolutely. When you was talking about that, it's just like a realization or a thought came to me that this is the generation of healers. I mean, you see, that there's healers all over the world. Right, people who do energy healing and all sorts of, Reiki healing and sound healing and everything else. But also, maybe I think that we're here to heal the world, to heal all those traumatic experiences, so we don't pass them on to more generations.
And to bring back the feminine, that's just been ostracized, and that's, the imbalance. We're here to reconnect with our feminine energies and our powers, and bring those forward, so there can be a balance. And the masculine is working to bring their healthy aspects too, to reconnect with their with their beautiful energies that are in the elevated frequencies of the masculine. We've been kind of stuck down in this lower level, but Yeah, we're absolutely here to heal the world. And yeah, definitely.
And things. And what can people do? If you, and I'm assuming that it depends on what experience you want to heal. And I know you help women heal the feminine energies. So how does that happen? Is there any specific techniques or anything like that?
For me personally, I work with the energetics of it. We are made of energy. We are frequency and vibration. So we're not these solid things that we think we are. We are, like I said, we're energy, we're frequency, we're vibration. Yeah. So that's how I like to work with it. These energies that we come in with or that we accumulate through our lifetime, they're stuck, static, they're blocked, tension in our energy field. It's like hoses, when you get a kink in the hose, the water can't flow through. When you open it up, the water flows. And water, that's such a beautiful feminine energy there and flowing. And so that's what happens to our energy body, and that's what like acupuncture is. You're opening up the channels and helping the energy to flow. And that's what energy healing does. It uses the sound and the frequency to move in there to go get to work on those blocked energies so it can just open it up. And then those unhealthy patterns that we've been rocking out for generations, they open up and they start loosening up. And then we can okay, now we can step back and we have a whole new perspective. We're not like stuck in it anymore. And so then we can start making new choices and working with new energies. And that's an important piece. We don't just get to clear the energy and go, oh, okay. Like people, it's funny when on intake forms, people come to see me for like a single session and they have like, it's like, what do you hope to gain out of this session? They have this whole list of like all these beautiful things. And it's like, that's amazing, but it's not going to happen in one session. It takes some work to work with this energy. So, and then it's about changing your lifestyle to support your new energy body and to surround yourself with healthy energy. We are so used to, our society it's pretty low vibe for the most part. It's fear, stress and anxiety and tension and weird foods, unhealthy, all this stuff. So when we're surrounding ourselves with that, like that's what's going into our energy body. So it's not about just clearing the energy, but it's learning how to make healthier choices for ourselves and to strengthen our energy body with healthier environment, surroundings, relationships, jobs. It's learning a whole new way of being, to put it lightly. But we're seeing what didn't work, so it's like now it's time for kind of an overhaul, really,
yeah,
yeah.
Which is good. Now I hear a lot of conversations about like healing relationships with our parents, especially our mothers and stuff like that, because we have our parents. I think we're all aware that we choose our parents before we come into this world. There's a reason why. Yes. Our parents and stuff. So if we heal a traumatic experience in ourselves, that energy, if we clear that energy, is that also clearing that energy in our parents?
We can absolutely work with it at that level. But, everybody has free will, and some people just aren't on board with healing and clearing their energies. So, it really comes back to always working with the self. I've done a lot of ancestral work and definitely worked with that, but, and it's my ancestors working with me. They're like, yeah, let's heal this stuff. Let's clear this energy. But my mother, she's still alive. She has no interest in any of this, and she's just not at that consciousness level. And so for healing to do with my mother, I have to do that. That's just inner work with me. It's unwinding my own tensions and stresses and anxieties around that, and my own wounding around that, and just forgiveness, just really not blaming, not shaming, not going into judgment, really a lot of compassion for her journey and wherever she is at, and her her life. That's her life. I again, it's about taking responsibility. That's all I can do. I can't, you know, if somebody wants to get on board with their process and start their awakening and their healing, that's awesome. And I would be there so much to support my mother in that, but that's not her journey. So, we have to be very, supportive, I guess, or just accepting really of wherever people are at. And I know that's not necessarily easy. But that's really what it is. We can't force other
force
people.
healing on others. It just
Yeah.
doesn't, they have to be ready and open for it. Wonderful. Good stuff.
Yeah. And it's just, it is our wounding, so maybe somebody else wouldn't have responded in the same way. So it's really on us to work with our own
Our own stuff.
reactivity, our own experience. So yeah.
Sure.
And I know that's a challenging one.
For some people it can be, absolutely. So tell us, Sadie, you have some programs coming up. And for everyone who is watching, we do have a few people watching. Do click on the links that are now below the video in the comments and check out some of what Sadie's offering. So tell us about some of your programs.
Yeah, the Sacred Feminine Phoenix Rising. I recently changed the name, so it just kind of more embodies what the program is all about. This is a 6-week program where we really deep dive into the wounded feminine and that archetype and how it's affecting our relationships, especially because we all bring this in, and that's relationships with our intimate partners, family, co-workers, whatever. We bring in our wounded experience, our low sense of self-worth, our anger, our yeah. My mind just kind of went blank there. But yeah, all of our relationship patterns, we bring them in, and that really again stems from like this ancestral, it's learned behavior, it's inherited behavior, it's inherited energies. There's a lot of anger with the feminine, and it comes out in really interesting ways with our partners. I'll talk more about kind of romantic partners right now, husbands, partner, boyfriends, really expecting a lot out of them, needing them to be a certain way. We really want a lot from the masculine that hasn't shown up for us. And because we don't feel supported and held and cherished and loved and seen for who we are in our feminine energies, we get frustrated with the masculine, and we get very controlling, and we get blaming, and we get resentful, and we have all these expectations that don't get met. So, and then when they don't get met, we start shutting down more, we get angry, we start turning off intimately, we start shutting down our sexual energy, we don't connect with our partner. It just and it just kind of snowballs and just keeps getting worse, and then it's just a really unhappy experience with our partner. And I know so many of us know what I'm talking about here.
Yes.
It's a common experience. We start off all loving and great, and then by the end, or by sometime later, a year later, we're more like shut down and defensive and frustrated. And so this program is really going into again, taking responsibility, really looking at ourselves, looking at our own wounding, looking at our anger, looking at that unconscious grief. There's a lot of grief for not being held, for not being cherished, for not being met, for not for a lot of the sexual abuse issues that we've dealt with and inherited. So really kind of going into that and bringing awareness to it. And once we start seeing those patterns in ourselves, then we can again start unwinding them. And then it's not just all about, the wounding part. Now, how do we move into the healthy? What are those healthy expressions that really resonate with us, that we know are part of our experience, and that we want to strengthen in ourselves, so that we can start having those beautiful, nourishing, healthy relationships that we're longing for. And we start drawing in those beautiful, nourishing relationships, because when we're in that wounding, we're at this vibration that actually draws in those partners that just keep us repeating the same patterns. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even when it starts out good, it ends up like, wow, here I am again, repeating these same patterns. So until we change our vibration, until we change our frequency, until we clear out some of that anger and grief and the unconscious, trauma that's there, we're just not going to draw in the healthy relationships that we're longing for. So that's what this program is about, really helping us to move through that and clear that stuff out. So powerful. So there's a beautiful death ritual at the end, death to the wounded feminine, phoenix rising out of the ashes into our beautiful sacred feminine energies. It's lovely. So that's one. And then there's another 12-week one, but I won't get into all that. You can check it out on the website and learn so much more.
Absolutely. And we have put all your links. So thank you for that. And it's such an important thing, to heal all those wounds. And I can just imagine how different life would be, when we take the time to heal the stuff that we don't even know about on a conscious level, on a conscious level. And I really get you in talking about, how all these things affect us in our lives on a physical and an emotional level. So thank you so much. And just before we go, I would love to if you could just tell us a little bit about the workshop. Now, I don't think you're actually running the workshop, but you're hosting it. Tell us about this interesting workshop, which might be a little bit confronting to some people, but also so healing.
Which workshop is that? I'm so...
Writing a letter to your vagina. I love it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this. I learned about this. When I learned about it, I was just like, I have got to be a part of this. It is so amazing. Yeah, these women organize. It's called Free the V, and they're organizing this as a global, worldwide thing. They're trying to get at least one woman from each country to participate. Writing a letter to our vaginas and just saying whatever we want to say. Are we celebrating them? Are we apologizing to them? Are we feeling shame around them? What would we want to say, and what do they have to say back to us? So many of us are very disconnected from our bodies, very disconnected from our sexuality, and this is a project to help us to reconnect and to get intimate with our vagina and start opening up that dialogue and having a conversation instead of like shunning and shaming, or there's so much around our sexuality. So this is confronting. It's funny, but there's some really funny things that are coming out of here, like that people are saying, that women are saying to, if you check out Free the V Instagram, they've been posting just some funny things that people are saying, and there's really thought-provoking messages as well, but some of it is just kind of humorous. So everybody's got a different relationship, and it's really just trying to reconnect, supporting our reconnection. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And that's happening July 15th and 16th, and there are a couple of different times so that they can accommodate everybody all over the world. So the 15th is more for people in North and South America. The 16th is more for, I think, Europe and Australia and Africa. But you'll have to check out their website. And if you go to my link tree there, the link is in there for that.
Yeah. So. And I've also put it in the comments as well, because it's definitely a interesting workshop. And I did say, for some people it can be confronting, but it's actually so natural. I mean, as women, we all have vaginas, but we carry the shame. And and to talk about it, it's like it's a shameful thing. Now, whether that's a cultural thing or a religious way back when, but it's a intergenerational and ancestral shame that we carry. Not all of us. This is just a generalization. Not all women. Some women are very open and have a loving relationship with their vagina, where others, it's just a shameful thing.
Yeah, I was
and
taught
height.
that mine is dirty, like that was what I grew up with. So it's just like, I mean, that's just very interesting, very interesting. But yeah, I also want to say that it's a 90-minute workshop, and the letters, I don't know how they're going to organize it, but we'll be going into a book anonymously. Of course, this will all be anonymous, but to create this beautiful book to share with everybody. So it's a fun thing. It's very fun. So yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Not a problem. Well, I've seen it and I go, now that's interesting. So I will
Right?
to see what I can do about attending, definitely. And encourage everyone out there who is watching, do click on the links and come and join us. Come and join us, because I do believe it would be an opportunity to do lots of healing. Lots of healing.
For
So
sure,
thank you.
sure.
All right. So Sadie, before we leave, is there anything else that you would like to share for this conversation? And I do hope that you come back again.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I would love to. It's just, I don't know, for me, it's all about that self-love piece. I'm really been connecting with the love lately, and bringing that down into my heart. And that's just such a journey for each one of us. It's not something that we come to easily, again, in general, but any way that you can find to clear this wounding, and to come into your heart, and remember you are love, and you are so worthy of just so much beauty and connection, and love and joy in this world. It's just, that's really why we're here. We've just forgotten.
Absolutely. So thank you ever so much. And for everyone out there who is watching, click on those links. Check out all of Sadie's website, her link tree, everything that she offers, the courses, I know you offer a lot of free programs as well. And come and join us and write a letter to your vagina. Love it.
Yay.
Thank you, Sadie. I look forward to talking to you again sometime very, very, very soon.
Wonderful. Me